Hey everyone, today's video is going to tackle those why us essays for law school applications, how to write one, how to prepare for one, and what things you should avoid. Hey everyone, today's video is going to focus on those why us essays for law school admissions. If you're new to my channel, my name is Sydney Montgomery, and I'm the owner and founder of Montgomery Admissions Consulting, where I provide personalized college counseling and law school admissions consulting. Growing up in a military and Jamaican household, education was so important to my family. As the first lawyer in my family and a graduate of Princeton and Harvard Law School, I am passionate about helping my students break down generational barriers, step confidently into their purpose, and create communities for life. Today, we're going to be talking about those law school why us essays. First, I want to break down what goes into those essays. Then, I'm going to talk to you about how to prepare to write them. And then I'm going to tell you some things that you should avoid when crafting these essays. So let's talk about what goes into these essays. And first, let's talk about just the nuts and bolts. This essay is usually 1 page, double-spaced. Don't go on for 2 pages, but maybe write more than a paragraph. Sometimes they're a little shorter, like 300 words or 450 words, and some schools will actually have designated spots on their application for this, and they might even be as short as 600 characters. So definitely look at the different applications and see what their instructions are. Now, when you're thinking about what to include in this essay, you really want to focus on specificity. You don't want to just tell them what's on their website because they know what's on their website. So you want to make this as personal to you as possible. And this also is where people get tripped up. Sometimes they only make it about the school and they forget that the applications should also talk about themselves. Your application is a puzzle and there are different pieces in the puzzle. And your why us essay should illuminate another piece of the puzzle for them. Now, if you've been following my story matrix brainstorming method, whether you've taken an asynchronous course or you're working with me in my boot camp or my one-on-one, you know that you already have a universe of stories to pick from. So this is where I would go back and pick a story from there to add to your application. And if you're not working with me, definitely check the link below with links to my boot camps and my one-on-one services, as well as some of my asynchronous services. I would love to get to know you and work with you on this journey. Now, you might be wondering, how do I tie my stories into a why us essay? Well, think about what you're really interested in. What is motivating you to go to law school? What's your why law? And then think about the specific clinics, journals, programs at that school and relate it back to your interests. And again, be specific. What exactly excites you? And be personal. Have you visited the school? Have you spoken to a professor or a student? Have you been to an admissions info session? Have you toured campus? Do you have a relative or family member that goes there? Make it as unique and personable to you as possible. So now you might be wondering, well, how do I make those unique experiences? I don't have any. And that's why you really need to prepare to write these essays. So when we talk about preparation, I'm talking about forging those connections. If you have never been to an admissions session or you've never spoken to anyone, now is the time. It doesn't take so long to reach out and make those connections. If you're in an affinity group, you can reach out. There's usually an email for those clubs and those groups, and you can get connected to members. You can reach out to professors respectfully and ask them a question about an area of law that you're extremely passionate about. Just make sure it's a thorough and well-researched question and you are respectful of their time. A lot of times, admissions directors and deans are the ones that are leading these information sessions, and at the end they welcome questions and they welcome continued connection. Get to know them. That way you'll have some meaningful things to put in your essay. As long as it's safe to do so, I highly recommend visiting the school and getting a feel for the campus, maybe the city and the surroundings. You can reach out to people at your workplace and do informational interviews if you have lawyers at your job and it's appropriate to do so, or through your alumni connections through LinkedIn. There are so many ways that you can make these really tangible and personal connections, and they will carry so much weight in these essays. Now, I mentioned I would be talking about things to avoid, and that's basically the exact opposite of everything I've just said. So you want to avoid having an essay that is merely a parrot of their website without any personal insight into you. You don't want to repeat what's on your personal statement. You don't want to repeat what's in your diversity statement. You want to be adding more pieces to the puzzle, and you want to be specific and personal. You also want to tell them in this essay, if it's your first choice school and you absolutely will attend, you want to tell them that. Say so. But don't overpromise. If it's not your first choice school, don't say so. There are other ways to communicate that it's a strong fit for you, that you feel like you will grow tremendously as a lawyer, that you feel like you can really thrive in the environment without saying it's your first choice school. You want to avoid not following a structure. I am the queen of telling people to outline, and it goes for these short essays as well. You need a clear beginning, middle, and end. Otherwise, it just becomes a list, and it seems so disorganized. You also don't want to hinge too much on prestige or reputation. You want to make sure that you are talking about the qualities that make the school a great fit for you and not so much about the national rankings, because they will think that that's what you really value. Now, if you want a step-by-step guide on how to do this, I actually have an admissions guide on how to write the YX essays, which gives you some tips on outlining and structure as well. If you're applying to law school this fall in the 2021 to 2022 application cycle, I so encourage you to join one of my boot camps. There, I will walk you through every step of the process. Students love the community and the cohort that they're able to form, and we make sure that you're ready to hit submit by the end of the boot camp. As always, I look forward to meeting you in my free Facebook group. And if you liked this video, make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date on more law school admissions tips. I'll talk to you very soon.